Isaiah took a slow, shaky breath, trying to ground himself in reality. Maya stood there trembling, soaked in guilt and fear, but also something else, hope. A dangerous kind of hope. You thought I'd forgive you? Isaiah finally said. Maya closed her eyes, bracing herself like she was expecting a blow. I didn't expect forgiveness, she whispered. I didn't know where else to go. And I hoped, just hoped, that if you saw what we'd become, you might not turn away. Isaiah didn't speak for a long moment. The storm outside beat against the glass walls of the penthouse. Thunder rolled across Atlanta. Inside, the only sound was Maya's quiet breathing, and Isaiah's heart breaking all over again. Then he stepped closer. So close she had to tilt her chin up to look at him. Maya, he said softly, if even half of what you told me is true, then the only person who deserves blame is the man who took your freedom. Tears spilled from her eyes, heavy, uncontrollable. I should have told you, she whispered. Maybe you could have saved me. Saved them. Isaiah's jaw clenched hard. He reached out and gently lifted her chin. You did save them. You ran. You protected them. You survived. That takes strength I don't even have. Maya broke completely then, silent sobs shaking her whole body. Isaiah pulled her into his arms. For the first time in 12 years, she didn't pull away. For the first time in 12 years, Isaiah felt like he had something real in his arms again. But then, the intercom buzzed. A sharp, urgent sound. Isaiah froze. Maya's whole body went rigid. Marcus's voice came through, tight and professional. Sir, you need to come to the security room. Now. Isaiah's stomach dropped. What is it? He asked. A pause. Then Marcus's voice, low, controlled, but carrying a warning. We have a problem. A black SUV circled the building twice. And, sir, someone just entered the lobby asking for Maya Johnson by name. Maya's knees buckled. Isaiah caught her instantly. No, 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 she whispered. He found us. He found us already. Isaiah turned stone cold. His voice changed. His posture changed. His entire aura sharpened like a blade being drawn. Marcus, he said quietly. Lock the elevators. Lock every exit. Call Hawkins and Rowe. Tell them I want full legal lockdown. And Marcus. He paused. His voice dropped to a cold, deadly calm. Nobody touches that woman or those kids. You understand? Yes, sir. Isaiah then turned to Maya, cupping her face so she couldn't look away. You're safe here, he said firmly. I swear to you, no one is taking you or those children anywhere. You don't understand, she whispered, shaking uncontrollably. Dominic doesn't go away. He doesn't stop. He doesn't lose. Isaiah's gaze hardened. He's about to. The children appear. Mom. A small voice came from the doorway. Jordan and Jasmine stood there wearing Isaiah's oversized t-shirts, hair still damp from their showers. Their eyes were red from crying. Jasmine ran forward first, clinging to Maya's waist. Mommy, are we leaving again? Maya dropped to her knees, hugging her children tightly. No, baby, she whispered. Not this time. Not again. Jordan looked at Isaiah, eyes full of worry and maturity far too old for his age. Is he here? The bad man. Isaiah knelt down so he was eye level with the boy. Yes, Isaiah said truthfully. But he's not getting anywhere near you. Not while I'm breathing. Jordan searched his face carefully, cautiously, and for the first time, he nodded like he believed him. Okay, the boy whispered. I trust you. Those words hit Isaiah harder than anything else that night. And then, the question returns. As Maya held her children, Isaiah looked at the twins again. Jordan. Jasmine. The age. The eyes. Their faces. Something unshakable pulled at him. Maya, Isaiah said again, quieter now. We're going to handle Dominic. We're going to protect you all. But there's something I need the truth about. Maya swallowed hard. Tears filled her eyes again. I know, she whispered. You want to know if they're yours? Isaiah nodded slowly. She looked at the twins, her whole world. Then looked back at Isaiah, heartbreak written across her face. I didn't lie, she whispered. It's complicated. So complicated. He took a breath. Maya, tell me the truth. Maya wiped her tears. Looked at Jordan. Then Jasmine. Then finally back at Isaiah. Her voice trembled, cracked. But the words came out anyway. Isaiah, there's a chance. A real chance, that they're yours. Isaiah's world tilted. Everything stopped. And before he could speak, Marcus appeared in the doorway, pale. Sir, we have another problem. He swallowed. Dominic, he isn't alone. The night settled over the neighborhood like a heavy blanket. Quiet, dense, filled with the kind of tension that makes even the humming streetlights sound louder than usual. Inside the small apartment, Alex lay on the bed, staring at the ceiling, her chest rising and falling with shallow breaths. The air felt thick, almost unbreathable. Josh sat beside her, his hands pressed together, elbows resting on his knees as if he needed his own ribs to hold him upright. His eyes kept drifting to her bruised shoulder, to the bandage on her arm, to the way her fingers twitched every time she heard a sound outside the door. He hated this. Not just what happened to her, but the fact that he wasn't there when she needed him most. Suddenly, the quiet broke. A sharp knock hit the door. Once. Twice. Then harder. Alex's eyes shot open in panic. Josh stood immediately, instincts firing. Don't worry, he whispered. I'm here. I've got you. But Alex wasn't calm. Her breaths grew fast, uneven. It might be him, she whispered, voice trembling. Josh, it might be him. Josh stepped closer to the door, tightening his jaw. Even if it is, he's not touching you again. He opened the door a few inches. A familiar voice broke the tension. Enemy, brother, enemy. It was Daniel. Josh exhaled heavily and opened the door fully. Daniel slipped inside, his forehead shining with sweat, his shirt slightly dusty as if he had run here. I heard what happened, Daniel said, chest rising. I swear, that man is finished. IWN go meet him for him house. No, Josh raised a hand. Not now. Alex needs peace, not more chaos. Daniel looked at her, silent, broken, eyes hiding stories of fear she never wanted to tell. He swallowed hard. I get your point, he murmured. But that man no go rest until somebody stop him. Josh didn't disagree. He just had no strength left to fight that battle tonight. Alex tried to sit up. Josh rushed to support her back. Her voice came out soft but steady. I don't want revenge. I want freedom. Josh and Daniel exchanged glances. That one sentence carried more weight than any wound on her skin. Daniel slowly nodded. Then we go give you that freedom. Even if NA the last thing we do. Alex looked up with tired eyes, the corners shimmering with unshed tears. For how long? She whispered. For how long will I keep running? Josh held her hand gently. You're not running anymore, he said. This time, we stand. Together. A silence filled the room. Not fear. Not tension. Something new, something fragile, like the first piece of hope after months of darkness. Then Daniel's phone buzzed. He checked the screen. His face changed immediately. What happened? Josh asked quickly. Daniel hesitated, then spoke slowly. He's looking for her, Josh. He's been asking people questions. And he's coming this side. Josh's blood ran cold. Alex froze like her heartbeat stopped. Daniel continued. And he's not alone. Josh stood up straight, something sharp and fierce rising inside him. Then let him come, he said, voice low and dangerous. I'm not hiding her again. Daniel nodded, stepping closer like a soldier receiving orders. Say the word, he said. I dare your back. Josh looked at Alex. She wasn't the weak woman she seemed tonight. There was fire inside her, even if it flickered softly. But she was exhausted. She needed protection. She needed time. She needed safety. Josh brushed his hand gently through her hair. I'm here, he whispered again. Whatever happens, I'm here. Outside, the wind shifted. A motorcycle engine roared in the distance. Voices carried through the street. Something was coming. Something dangerous. But inside the small apartment, 3 lives were slowly locking together. Not in fear, but in determination. And the night waited, holding its breath. The night outside thickened, swallowing the sounds of the street, until only the distant hum of a generator and the occasional bark of a stray dog echoed through the neighborhood. Inside the apartment, the air felt tense, too still, too silent, too aware of what was moving closer. Josh stood near the window, peeking cautiously through the curtain without letting his shadow show. Daniel paced by the doorway, his fists clenched, his jaw tight. Alex, though shaken, sat upright now, leaning against the headboard with a pillow behind her back. She watched them, silent, but alert. Her strength was returning, slowly, painfully, but unmistakably. A soft knock came at the door. Not loud. Not aggressive. A polite knock. But that made it worse. Josh exchanged a look with Daniel. No words. Just understanding. Another knock. Josh, Alex whispered, her voice cracking. Don't open it. Josh walked toward her first, touching her shoulder gently. Nothing will happen to you, he said. I'm right here. The knock came again, this time longer, slower, like the one knocking was patient, or confident. Daniel's nostrils flared. If N.A. that bastard, I swear. Josh raised a hand, stopping him. Wait. Let me see first. He moved to the door and leaned close without making a sound. A shadow moved on the other side. Tall, broad, familiar. Josh felt a prickle down his spine. A voice filtered through the crack. Open the door. I know you're inside. Alex's heartbeat spiked. Her fingers curled around the bedsheet. Her throat tightened. Josh didn't respond. The voice continued, low and calm, too calm. I'm not here for trouble. I just want to talk to her. Daniel scoffed under his breath. Talk. N.A. so day talk before break person bone. Josh pressed his palm against the door, breathing in deeply. What do you want? He asked through the wood. Silence. Then. She's my wife. I deserve answers. Alex covered her mouth. Her eyes filled with fear and something else, a deep ache she didn't want to admit existed. Josh's voice hardened. She doesn't owe you anything. A slight laugh came from the other side. You think you can protect her from me? Daniel stepped forward, fire in his eyes. Guy, try and make we see. The hallway suddenly fell dead quiet. Then the man outside spoke again. I'm coming in. Whether you like it or not. Josh felt something shift inside him. A steel-like resolve. A certainty he hadn't felt in years. He moved back from the door, muscles tight. Daniel, he said calmly. Move Alex to the corner. Stand in front of her. Daniel didn't argue. In 3 steps, he was by her side, shielding her with his body. Alex grabbed the edge of Daniel's shirt, trembling. Josh stood alone facing the door. A click sounded from outside. The door handle rattled once. Twice. Then the man slammed his shoulder into the wood. The frame vibrated. Alex flinched violently, covering her ears. Daniel steadied her. Another slam. This one harder. The hinges groaned. Josh took a slow breath. His hands curled into fists. All the anger he'd held back, all the helplessness he felt tonight, it began to boil. One more slam. Crack. The lock split. The door swung inward. And there he was. Tall. Broad shoulders. Dark eyes burning with anger and something darker, ownership. His presence filled the room instantly, like a storm forcing its way inside. When his eyes found Alex, he froze. Not with softness. Not with guilt. But with something sharper. Claiming. Demanding. Josh stepped between them instantly. You're not touching her, he said. The man tilted his head slightly, almost amused. And you think you can stop me? Daniel moved from the corner, stepping forward like a loaded weapon. You touch her today, Daniel growled. You go leave this place for stretcher. The man's eyes flicked to Daniel, measuring him, dismissing him, then returning to Josh. "Move," he said. "I won't warn you again." Josh didn't move. He didn't blink. He didn't breathe. No. The air snapped with tension. For a moment, no one moved. Then the man lunged forward. He grabbed Josh's shirt with brutal force. Josh shoved back. Daniel stepped in. Alex screamed. And the small apartment exploded into chaos. Bodies collided. Furniture toppled. Voices crashed over each other. But beneath all that noise, one truth echoed in Alex's heart. This wasn't just violence. This was the night everything changed. The room shook with the force of the struggle. Josh's back slammed against the wall as the man's fist drove toward his jaw. Josh ducked instinctively, the punch grazing past his ear and smashing into the plaster behind him. Dust sprinkled down from the cracked wall. Daniel didn't wait. He launched himself forward, grabbing the man's arm and dragging him backward with a furious growl. The man twisted violently, freeing himself with shocking strength, and elbowed Daniel hard in the ribs. Daniel stumbled but didn't fall. "Get away from her!" Daniel thundered. Josh pushed off the wall, rage burning hot in his chest. He charged back into the fight, tackling the man around the waist. The two crashed into the center table, sending it sliding across the floor. Alex screamed again, voice cracking, raw, terrified, as she pressed herself deeper into the corner. Her hands trembled uncontrollably. Her eyes couldn't look away no matter how much she wanted to. This wasn't just a fight. It was her nightmare in human form. And her freedom hanging by a thread. Josh held the man down for a moment, gripping his collar with white knuckles. "You don't own her," he yelled. The man spat to the side, his eyes blazing. "I do. She's mine. And you." He twisted sharply, flipping Josh to the side. "Are nothing." Daniel roared, charging again. This time he connected with a brutal punch to the man's jaw. A loud thud echoed as the man's head snapped sideways. For the first time, he staggered. But he wasn't done. He straightened, blood gathering at the corner of his lip, and smiled. A cruel, slow, dangerous smile. "You think two of you can stop me?" Daniel clenched his fists, shoulders heaving. "We know they think. We dey sure." The man rushed forward like a bull, slamming his shoulder into Daniel's stomach and forcing him backward into the wall. Daniel gasped, air knocked from his lungs. Josh grabbed the man from behind, locking his arms around his neck. The man struggled, pushed back hard. They both crashed into the armchair, flipping it over. Furniture scattered across the room like war debris. But through the chaos, something shifted. Alex stood. Her legs wobbled at first, but her knees locked. Her breath steadied. Her eyes sharpened, not with fear, but with a small spark of defiance. She watched them, three grown men tearing the room apart because of her. Her life, her pain, her dignity, and something inside her whispered, "Enough." Josh heard her voice, barely a whisper, but clearer than all the noise around him. "Stop." He looked up, breathing hard. Daniel froze. Even the man paused, chest rising and falling like a wild animal. Alex took one step forward. Then another. Her bare feet moved across the floor slowly, almost floating. Her hair hung loosely around her face. Her eyes were red, swollen, but no longer empty. She stood just a few feet away from all of them. Her voice didn't shake this time. "I said stop." The man stared at her, shock flashing across his face. Josh saw it too. Daniel straightened, catching his breath. Alex's eyes locked with her abusers. "You want control," she whispered. "You want power. That's what you think this is." He swallowed hard, the first sign of hesitation Jonah had seen in him. "You don't own me anymore." The man's jaw tightened. Josh stepped closer to Alex, ready to pull her back, but she lifted her hand slightly, signaling him to stay. She wasn't hiding behind anyone tonight. "Look at me," she said softly. "Look at what you did. Look at what you turned me into." Her voice cracked, but her gaze never faltered. "And look where you are now. Fighting two men. Breaking into a house. Because I walked away." The man's breath accelerated. His chest heaved. His fingers curled into fists. But he didn't step forward. For the first time. He wasn't controlling the moment. Alex was. Josh placed a hand on her shoulder, gently but firmly, grounding her. She didn't pull away. Daniel stood beside them, his presence like a wall made of heat and anger. Alex lifted her chin. "Leave," she said. "Now." The man's eyes flicked between her, Josh, and Daniel. He was angry, embarrassed, shaking with frustration, but not stupid. Slowly, he stepped back toward the broken doorway. "You'll regret this," he muttered. "No," Alex replied softly. "You will." He hesitated, one last glare. Then he turned and walked out into the dark hallway. Josh immediately shut the door behind him, locking the broken latch with his hand pressed against the wood as if holding back a storm. In the sudden quiet, Alex's body finally gave out. She collapsed into Josh's arms. He caught her instantly, pulling her close, his hand cradling the back of her head as her tears soaked into his shirt. Daniel exhaled shakily, running a hand down his face. Inside that small, broken apartment, 3 lives trembled, together. Not in fear anymore, but in the aftermath of surviving something none of them were ready for. The night outside was still. Too still. Because the real storm wasn't over yet. The apartment trembled with silence. Not peace. Not relief. Just the kind of silence that comes after a storm tears a home apart but leaves the people standing, shaken, bruised, but alive. Josh held Alex tightly, feeling her entire body shiver in his arms. Her face was buried against his chest, her breath sharp and uneven, as if each inhale carried years of fear and each exhale fought to release it. Daniel stood near the door, staring at the broken frame. His chest rose and fell in angry waves. The bruise forming along his ribs throbbed, but he ignored it. His eyes scanned the hallway through the gap, making sure the man was truly gone. "Lock this place properly," Daniel muttered. Josh shot him a tired look. "With what?" He broke the lock. Daniel pressed his lips together, frustrated. "Then I go stand here till morning." Josh didn't argue. He knew Daniel meant it. Alex lifted her head slowly, eyes red, cheeks wet. Her voice trembled. "Is he gone?" Josh gently wiped a tear from her face with his thumb. "Yes, he is." But Alex shook her head slightly. "No, not really." Those words hit Josh in a place deeper than bone. She wasn't talking about the hallway. She meant inside her. The memories. The control. The shadows he left buried in her mind. Josh brushed his hand through her hair, as if to quiet those shadows. "You're safe here." Alex swallowed hard. No one is safe from a man like him. Daniel turned sharply. "Na threat be that. He no be God. If he try him again, we go finish him." Alex closed her eyes. "That's the problem," she whispered. "He doesn't stop. Not because of love. Not because of guilt. He stops only when he wins." Josh felt that sentence like a blade. Daniel clenched his fists, looking at her with a rare softness. "You don't dare fight alone again. We dare with you." Alex managed a weak nod, but her eyes drifted toward the door, the broken door, hanging crooked, splitting the room from the world outside. A world where he still walked freely. A sudden noise echoed outside. A bottle clattered on the ground. Footsteps shuffled. Someone whispered. Alex flinched violently. Josh moved instantly, shifting to shield her. Daniel looked out again, but the hallway was empty. Still, something felt wrong. Josh guided Alex toward the sofa gently. "Sit," he whispered. Her legs wobbled, but she managed to lower herself. She hugged her arms tight around her body, shivering like the cold had sunk into her bones. Daniel stepped closer. "We need police." Alex's head snapped up instantly. "No." Josh frowned. "Alex." "No," she repeated, voice cracking. "You don't understand. He has people. Police listen to him. Not to me." Josh and Daniel exchanged a look. That explained everything. Why she stayed. Why she kept quiet. Why she never ran until tonight. She wasn't afraid of him destroying her. She was afraid of him destroying everything around her. Josh sat beside her slowly. Then what do you want us to do? Alex stared at her hands, shaking, small, wounded. She spoke so softly, it sounded like a confession. I want to disappear. Josh's breath caught. Daniel froze. Alex continued, tears spilling again. I want to go somewhere he can't find me. I want to sleep without waking up to footsteps. I want to walk without checking behind me. I want to breathe without fear choking me. She wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. I want my life back. Josh's heart cracked open. He took her hands gently. You will get your life back. Even if it means fighting the whole damn world. A faint, broken smile touched her lips. But then, from outside, a motorcycle engine revved loudly. Josh's head snapped toward the window. Daniel stiffened. The engine slowed and stopped directly outside the building. Alex's breath froze. Voices murmured. More than one. Men. Daniel moved to the window carefully and peered out. There were 3 of them. Not the man from earlier, but men who had his look, his energy, his loyalty. Daniel's face hardened. They are his boys, he whispered. Josh stood, jaw tightening. What are they doing here? Daniel watched closely, eyes narrowing. They monitor the building, checking who enter, who commit. Alex covered her mouth. Oh God. Josh felt anger surge through him like fire climbing up dry wood. He sent them, he said slowly. He's not done. Daniel nodded grimly. This one Don Pass house matter. This NA war. Alex trembled. Daniel's words weren't reassurance. They were prophecy. Josh moved back to her, his voice low but steady. We're not going anywhere tonight. We stay together. We lock all windows. And nobody touches you again. Alex looked up at him, broken yet trusting. Why are you helping me? She whispered. Josh looked at her for a long moment. Then spoke the truth he'd been holding quietly. Because you deserve someone who chooses you. Not someone who cages you. Her breath hitched. Her eyes softened with something between disbelief and yearning. Daniel cleared his throat, not wanting to interrupt but needing to speak. We need plan. By morning, things go worse. Josh nodded. His mind was already racing. But then Alex whispered something so quiet, so fragile, that both men stopped moving. What if he comes back tonight? Josh's eyes sharpened. Daniel's fists clenched. Josh spoke first. Then we'll be ready. Daniel added. And this time, he no go leave here standing. The room fell silent again. But not the helpless silence from before. This silence carried tension, strategy, fear, courage, and something else. The beginning of a fight none of them expected. But all of them were now part of. The night outside grew darker. The footsteps continued. The whispers lingered. The shadows stretched. Because danger was now waiting at their doorstep. And dawn felt very, very far away. The night thinned into a dangerous stillness. Not quiet. Quiet was peaceful. This was the kind of stillness that warned of eyes watching from shadows, of footsteps waiting to move, of danger breathing just outside the door. Inside the apartment, only one dim bulb lit the room, flickering occasionally as if afraid of the darkness gathering around them. Daniel stood near the window, back straight, shoulders tense, watching the street below. Every few seconds, he shifted the curtain an inch to make sure the 3 men were still there. They were leaning on their motorcycles, whispering, laughing under their breath, waiting. Josh sat beside Alex on the sofa, one arm around her shoulders, feeling the tremble beneath her skin. Her head rested lightly against him, not out of romance, but out of exhaustion. Her eyes stared at the blank wall across from her, but she wasn't seeing it. Her mind was far away, drifting into memories she wished she could bury in the deepest ocean. Josh ran his hand down her arm gently. You don't have to talk, he whispered. But if you want to, I'm here. Alex didn't answer. Not because she didn't want to. Because she was afraid of what might come out if she opened her mouth. Daniel's voice broke the silence. They know comet since. They day rotate shifts. Josh frowned. Shifts? Daniel nodded once, jaw tightening. Yes. One go leave. Another go appear. And I like say them get timetable. Alex inhaled sharply, panic rising again. He's watching me, she whispered. He wants to know if I leave. If I run. Josh held her tighter. He won't get close to you again. But Alex shook her head weakly. You don't know him, Josh. He scares people without touching them. He controls people with silence. If he can't break me himself, he sends others. Her voice cracked. And they enjoy doing his dirty work. Daniel's fists clenched. That Cain man no deserve freedom. Josh looked toward the broken door, the fractured wood telling its own story of violence and intrusion. We need a plan before morning, he said quietly. Daniel nodded. I day think 'em. But we no fit stay here. This place no safe. Josh glanced at Alex, her tired eyes, her trembling fingers. Leaving tonight seemed impossible. But staying felt like suicide. Alex suddenly spoke, voice low. He won't come tonight. Both men looked at her. Josh frowned. Why not? She stared at the floor. Because he's smart. He won't rush back after breaking in. He knows you're alert now. He knows Daniel is here. He knows you're expecting him. Daniel exhaled slowly. So, him boys go do the watching. Alex nodded. But he'll come back when we least expect it. When we're tired. When we're off guard. When I'm alone. Josh felt something hot flare inside his chest. You're not going to be alone, he said firmly. Not now. Not tomorrow. Not until we end this. Alex closed her eyes as if those words were a blanket she needed. But then she whispered. I'm scared of sleeping. Josh softened, his voice lowering even more. Why? There are nights, she said slowly, when he would stand over me while I slept. He thought I didn't know. But I could feel him watching. Breathing. Waiting. Her voice broke. And I would pretend to stay asleep so he wouldn't hurt me. Josh's throat tightened painfully. Daniel turned away, jaw clenched so hard a muscle twitched. Josh took her hand, squeezing it gently. You don't have to pretend here. You're safe beside me. Alex leaned her head into his shoulder, exhaling shakily. Daniel cleared his throat. Make I check outside again. He peeked through the curtain. But this time, his entire body froze. Josh noticed immediately. What is it? Daniel didn't move for a moment. Then he whispered. More Don come. Josh stood instantly. How many? Daniel's voice was low, almost unbelieving. 5. Alex's breath caught in her chest.